Hi everyone, and welcome to this student panel about academics and the whole curriculum. My name is Clarissa Weber and I will be your host today. I'm here with three of our current students, Viviana, Jessica, and Tino from very different parts about the world. So I'm very excited to hear about their perspective about Holt. If you have some questions that you would like to ask, please feel free to write in our Q&A box, and we will make sure to answer them towards the end of our conversation. So before I hand over to the students and the questions, I would like to remind you of some facts about Holt. Once our students are accepted in the program, they can choose between London, San Francisco, and Boston. During the summer, they can also rotate to Dubai and Shanghai in our optional summer classes. And Holt is a very non-traditional school. We really believe in the learn by doing method. We really believe in learning from experience, and that's why we have our professors with great expertise in many different segments of business. So we really want our students to be paired with a curriculum that is updated in terms of the job, the needs of the market for today and the future. So our students have classes of business related to technology, so artificial intelligence, blockchain, many different segments of business related with very relevant subjects for today's business world. And I would like to start our panel by asking Jessica to please introduce yourself to us and tell us why did you decide to study at Holt?
Of course. Hi, guys. Super excited to be here. I find myself with two of my best friends, Tina and Viviana. So this is going to be such a great time. I'm Jess. I'm half German, half Spanish. I grew up in Asia, and now I find myself located in the Bahamas. I'm doing limitless learning. I'm currently pursuing my BBA in finance and I'm doing a joint master's at Holt in business analytics. So I'm super, super excited to be here. The reason why I chose Holt was because I had gone to a pretty traditional high school and I was like, okay, cool. I'm not about the campus life. I'm about changing the world, and I don't want to be the only international student. And that's what I found here at Holt. Everyone's so international and we have such a diverse background that it feels like home for me. So yeah, really excited.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. What about you, Tino? Why did you choose Holt? And please introduce yourself to us.
Hey guys, my name's Tino. I was born and raised in Zimbabwe. I'm currently majoring in finance, and right now I'm in Boston, hoping to go for in-person lessons. So the reason why I came to Holt is, my reasoning is sort of linked to Jess's, whereby I went to a traditional English school back in Zimbabwe. And, by the end of my 6th year at A-levels, I decided that I wanted something completely different in terms of my tertiary education. And, all of my friends were going to sort of bigger schools, and I sort of wanted something, different, as I said, something smaller and more specific with what I wanted to study going forward, business and more specifically finance.
Amazing. What about you, Viviana? You're muted.
Sorry, I was muted.
No problem.
Hi, so my name is Viviana. I am from the Dominican Republic with a Chinese background, and I am on the BBA program with majoring in marketing. And the reason why I chose Holt is completely different from Jessica and Tino. The reason why is because I always felt like I was a different one in a whole different setting, because I am Chinese and I've been growing up in a very different cultural setting as to my family. So it just came natural to me to be able to choose Holt because it was such an international environment already, and I wasn't going to feel different. And yeah, that's basically it. Nice to meet you all.
Amazing. Awesome. So a student that goes to Holt graduates with a business degree, but they also have a chance to have a major, right? So can you guys talk a little bit about how was this decision to choose a specific major? I heard Viviana saying that she already chose marketing. So how was that?
So I originally wanted to do fashion marketing. So I already had my decision to go into marketing. And when I came here, I just continue my desires and my dreams. But I'm pretty sure my other friends had a different path. So what of you, Jessica?
Actually, I wanted to invite Tino because we're both doing finance, and I think we have really different reasons as to why. So, Tino, why don't you give me your answer and then I'll rebuttal.
Right. So, I mean, I shortly after I finished high school, like I beg your pardon, I worked with my dad for a bit, and I started my own like business in agriculture and the export industry. And so I realized the importance of managing money. Okay, how to grow it over a certain period of time, and that's when I was sort of interested more specifically with finance. But when I came to Holt, we've got all sorts of majors that we're confronted with that you then declare your sophomore year. So I told myself, okay, let me give it a chance. Let's see if I enjoy it or not. And I was able to sort of view what I like and what I don't like through internships. Okay, so my first summer, I interned here in a small city called Quincy. It's in the greater Boston area. And they had a management training program, but my sole position really was as a marketing intern. I enjoyed it, but I realized that, that's not my calling. All right. And I think that's one of the most effective ways to find out what's good for you and what is not. And after that summer, that was sort of confirmed that, I have to just keep trudging forward with my goals or aspirations of becoming a finance major and hence a financier in the future.
I'm actually the opposite. I was like, cool. What is the thing that I'm not the best at that I can grow the most out in and that only the school environment will give me? So that was definitely finance and data analytics. Math is not my strong point. Not to any employer listening, I'm really good at math. But basically, I was like, I need a school environment to really foster that for me. So that's what I've been doing with finance, and I hope to do that with business analytics as well, because there aren't enough women in STEM. So that's kind of the main motivators, just because I want to do both of these things, because without Holt or without college, like I wouldn't be able to.
And Tino, you mentioned your internship. So can you tell us a little bit more how was the process to get to this internship? If you counted with career services, how was that path?
So I'm just going to say off the bat, getting an internship, it's not easy. Really doesn't matter where you go to school. It's the individual, right? You have to approach the internship search with immense tenacity, all right? You shouldn't give up. How did I approach it and how was it? So I worked closely with Matt Lender as I think, yeah, during my first year here at Holt. He helped me immensely, along with another career services assistant called Ariel. The standard sorting out your resume, cover letters, so on and so forth. You go through all sorts of sites, Indeed, LinkedIn, and Google Jobs, all sorts. But I think for me, the most effective way to secure an internship that you want, and this is not when you just settle for something, is through networking, right? The people that you surround yourself with. I think that was the most effective way for me to network when I got my internship this past summer. So I'm actually finishing an internship this week with one of my professors. That was one of the most effective. For me, I think it's a testament to networking is the best way to getting an internship that you want. And for anyone who's looking for an internship, whether you've got one or you're still looking for one, you're going to be faced with so many rejection like letters, but that shouldn't weigh you down. It's part of the process and everyone has gone through it. The only question is, how long are you willing to fight for an internship that you want? Yeah.
And Jessica also mentioned business analytics, which was our most recently added major that we have in our curriculum. So business analytics is also a STEM degree, which grants you 3 years of OPT if you would like to stay to work in the US instead of 1 year of the regular major. So Jessica, what made you choose the business analytics field? Like how it called your attention?
I started working with Maker Girl Foundation, which teaches young girls how to 3D print. And after working with them, I started volunteering and I became a director. And I was like, you know what? It's pretty ironic that I'm telling these girls to get into STEM And then I'm not getting into STEM. And I initially wanted to make business analytics my major as an undergrad, but then I thought it would be even more valuable to add that as a master's degree, as I can take like a lot more advantage of that. So that's kind of my reasoning behind that. I just wanted to add to Tino's point with the internships. I know Tino, Viviana, and I, like everyone really, really, really struggles with internships. Like it's so hard to get, especially in Boston. It's so competitive. We have all of these amazing schools and we're all like trying to change the world together. So for me as well, it was my first internship. Like I got rejected from so many my first summer that I reached out to one of my professors and I was like, sir, I nothing. Like, what do I do? And he's like, okay, wait, what do you want to work in? I was like, startups. And he's like, okay, let me think. And then he connected me to one of the postgraduate professors. And that was actually my first internship. And from that on, through my networking, like same as Tino, that led me to my other internships. So yeah, I know Viviana also did a couple internships. So I'd love to hear the most recent one you did.
So for the first internship that I did, it was actually with a class. So we had a class project, and the person that would win the class project could be able to do an internship with a company. I didn't exactly win it, but I did a really good job, and the CEO of that company really liked me, and that's why he wanted to keep in contact with me, and I did, and we talked about it, and I did it in July, around that area. Around that time. And yeah, like it was a very non-traditional way of getting an internship. It wasn't through networking like Jessica and Tino, but it was an opportunity that Holt did give me, and I took advantage of it, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Amazing. So Holt is really very practical, right? You have real business experience inside the classroom. Can you guys tell me what was your favorite project that you have worked so far that really felt very real and you have learned a lot from in your trajectory at Holt?
I think Jess would agree with me on this one because we basically took the same class.
Okay, I'm curious. I don't know which one
So
you're talking
for our
about.
financial markets class, our professor,
Oh my God.
she
I
knows.
hated that one.
Come on. Okay, I mean, okay. I think we all found it differently, but let's get into it. I mean,
Yes.
we were split into groups. So bottom line, every class has some form of challenge or project, right? So for financial markets and institutions, within our specific groups, we were given about, I think it should have been $1 million.
It was $1 million.
It's not real money, by the way. There's a platform called
Hypothetical $1 million.
Yes, hypothetical. And, we, based on the learning materials in the class, you're supposed to manage that money, through, buying and selling or playing with all sorts of securities, stocks, bonds, options, futures, currencies, and commodities. And by the end of that simulation, we would then be graded, or the winners would be based on what's called a Sharpe ratio and return. So return, how much money you get back from the initial investment, and Sharpe ratio, that's the amount of money you make based on the risk taken. So it was very interesting given the fact that COVID hit during the simulation. So
Yes.
I was one of the groups. We were doing very well before COVID. I mean, our portfolio was very diversified, but we had invested a lot of money in the hotel industry. And as you would know, with COVID, they were the worst hit after the airline industry. So we suffered a few blows from that. But at least first of all, it was fake money, but it was definitely a very key learning curve for the whole group as to, you have to be very careful when you're investing money, and you've got to, take risks, but also hedge that risk, right? There's up to a certain point where you should be taking risks. But yet again, great opportunity from Halt.
Yeah. One of my favorite things from that class was that like when everything was crashing, when everything was going down, our professor would just like send us emails to be like, oh my God, you guys, like this is happening. So we had like a real time like broadcaster of our professor who's like an expert in the space.
Yeah.
So that was fun.
As Jess
right?
said,
Remember? Yeah.
Ivan, he's one of the professors of many at Halt where on top of learning topics from the textbook, it's applied based on his personal experiences. There's not one lesson where I can say I walked out of a classroom and didn't learn something, or I didn't have a takeaway for that specific day. And by all means, I think that's definitely very important for me, and it's one of the things that makes Halt really stand out.
Amazing. So you have mentioned group work, and it sounds very interesting, everything that you're actually doing in class, and very realistic. So can you tell me a little bit what is a typical day like? Like how is a normal whole day of classes like for you guys?
Well, Viviana has an amazing video online of a typical day at Halt.
I don't know if you guys saw that video, but it was with a fellow friend called Melina, and we basically did a tour around Hope Point. I think you can check it out if you want to. I mean, you could say it's a realistic day because we literally do the same thing, but I guess a typical day for me is usually people have 2 or 3 classes around the day. Honestly, something I really love about here is that every time I go into a building, they will always say hi to me, and you will always have people that you know in the front desk saying hi to you. And
so it's a great sense of community, right? Not only with program, but also with postgrad, and that's
the
great.
faculty, and even the people that work here, they all are really friendly with you. And then the classes are amazing. It's very dynamic and very practical for sure. There's always for every class that you take, you have to have some kind of team project. It has to be with teamwork. There's no one class that I haven't done a team project. And yeah, usually professors either put you in groups or you listen about a lecture. Sometimes we even do activities. We had a class last year. It was critical thinking, psychology, and business. We basically did so many small little exercises that helped us learn in a different way. So instead of just throwing you theory all the time, they would give you some exercises, and it would make the class more engaged, and everyone would be paying more attention. And then when it comes to lunch, a lot of people hang out at Lingo, which is the cafeteria that we have here. There's also another location at Holt House, but yeah, you can see everyone there most of the time. You can eat with your professors if you want to. You can eat with anyone you want, and it's basically like a source of networking as well.
Everything is.
Literally, even your friends, like people.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then,
so do you feel like you have learned a lot from different cultures, since Holt is so international? Were there many things you have learned from your peers while doing these work projects? Like, how is this international experience for you?
Oh yeah, I think I learned about my culture even more because I grew up in Dominican Republic, and I guess like one of my best friends is Chinese, and I learned so much from her. I can't believe I was so ignorant in the past. I can't believe I was so much more different, and not even just my culture, but like the other cultures seem very interesting, and it just shows you what are the things that you have to respect, how to be respectful around others, how to be compassionate and be empathetic, because sometimes you just don't act like other people do, but you just learn how to manage yourself around other cultures with time.
Yeah, just to piggyback that point that you were mentioning, learning different cultures. I look at, Holt Point is a very vibrant building on campus, the first floor especially, because, someone's there at every given point in time of the day. And I look at it as, and The Economist magazine, it's like discussions between classmates, peers. It's like The Economist without the subscription having to be paid, because you're always finding out something new about, your own culture, someone else's culture, a language, a tradition, a holiday. And, every day you walk out of the doors at Holt Point, you're well informed. So when a discussion is, being, going on like in public, or, where you stay, and someone's, saying stuff that really doesn't matter, or that's, not true, mistruths, you can step in and say, okay, hold on, I know so and so, and that, that's not the story. You've got it all wrong. And this is coming from a credible source, your mates, because it's more than one person. Okay, it's people that you learn with, people that you know. And I think that's definitely a very good taking point from my experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Amazing. So how come professors can get you internships? So you mentioned that sometimes they even have lunches with you guys. So you have a very close relationship with the professor. So tell me a little bit more insights about this relationship and these connections that you have on campus.
Yeah, I can take that for now. Well, here's the thing, like you come into Holt as an undergrad, right? And you're coming to Boston, to a city where you most probably don't have any connections, especially not professional connections. And then you have a dream of getting an HR job, and that seems impossible. And so you try to get around people who have a better network than you do, and that's either your upperclassmen or your professors. So that's why. Unless Tino, Viviana,
Yeah.
do you have anything else to
Mm.
add?
Additionally, just to come in there, many of our professors work, they've got other jobs at, good companies. And a very good way to get yourself or to get your foot into the door is through, not only, okay, you come to school to learn, right? But you'll find that being a model student sets you apart from the rest of, your classmates. And if your professors, sort of notice that from time to time, you're like, okay, this person can, thrive in my workplace, or they can build you into an asset for the company that you would like to go work for. So that definitely is one of the strategies used by individuals. Myself, I do that, and because that's an effective way to get yet again an internship that you want.
Mm-hmm. And are you guys involved in any clubs and societies on campus? Tell me a little bit more about your life on campus besides the business curriculum that we offer at Holt.
Who wants to take this one? I think last year I was involved in the fashion show club. They wanted to do a fashion show, but it wasn't successful because COVID hit. And just like any other club, like the whole volunteering club, we were doing food pantries. So basically every Saturday we would go and help distribute food to the low income people around Boston and just help aid the COVID situation at the same time. But that was canceled because the school not the school, but the club didn't want to get involved with being exposed to the virus. So we had to cancel that. But it was a really fun club and very interesting one as well. If anyone wants to add any more clubs or societies they've been.
Viv, you're forgetting the International Cultural Festival.
Oh yeah, the events.
That's definitely a highlight. So long story short, it's one day, the year where we sort of show off our respective cultures or countries. So for us, I mean, I didn't have a Zimbabwean stand. So what we did as, people coming from different African countries, we sort of made up our own African union. So we had one side of the 8th floor at Holt Center, and we cooked all sorts of food from back home.
So good.
We were wearing traditional attire. We had like some form of like a fashion show to show off the patterns and designs that come from our great continent. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
And food.
And the food.
Yeah, there was food from all over the world.
Yeah. Okay, these guys are missing a bunch of things because they've been doing so much. Tino and I we're part of the HSA, so that's the Holt Student Association. So they're being modest. And then Tino did a bunch of other things. And the three of us, we're also global ambassadors, which is why we're all here with you today. And most Holt students are involved in multiple clubs. So I'm sure if you ask either of them, they've done so many clubs, and like it's cool because you can be on the leadership of the club or just be a member. So it's really diverse and it's really, really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. And what do you guys consider the most disruptive class you've taken so far?
Disruptive.
Related to technology, to...
Oh, I took robotics.
How was that
That was an
experience?
interesting class. It was a bit scary, but yeah, it was a really good class.
I took intro to Python, which I thought that I was never gonna be able to program, but Python is not hard. It's you can totally get into the basics, but that was a very interesting class, and it showed me that anyone can program because, well, when you think of programming, you think of a lot of 0 and 1s, but Python is such a not a simple way, but like it's like the modern way of programming. And yeah, I learned a lot. I was very shocked about myself.
Finally, for me, don't leave me out. I think the most disruptive class I've taken, so Viviana and Jess, they didn't take it at the same time I did, but it was design thinking for social impact with a professor called Henrik Todderman. So he teaches both undergraduate students as well as postgraduate. And really, at the end of that class, we were supposed to come up with some form of like a social enterprise. And it was very interesting how we sort of brought together all the individual components of that class, and how social impact can really be created from not using complicated methods, just simple things that people really do overlook in modern day.
Amazing. And you have mentioned the HSA, so can you tell me a little bit more about what is the HSA? What do you guys do on campus? Like how this association works? Like what is the purpose of the HSA?
I think
go for it.
Yeah.
I was like, go.
It's like the school governing body, right? You meet maybe every second week, or every week if it gets really hectic. I remember, Jess, we used to have our meetings on like Thursdays lunchtime.
Wasn't it Friday? I don't remember. Wasn't it Fridays at 1? Anyway.
Friday, okay. Thursday, Friday, one of those days.
End of the week.
And,
yeah.
So you organize, main events on campus. You raise certain issues that students are facing. So if students would like certain things to happen, like if they want certain changes, you then voice their opinions to top management or the deanery. And that is when you discuss what sort of compromise you can come up with or what would be the best solution. So you're basically an advocate for the students. Like right now for orientation, I know that a lot of people are very involved here at the Boston campus when it comes to showing people around campus, getting to know the city while socially distanced, taking precaution, ensuring that, first year students are very comfortable, and they're also involved in, sort of registration and all of that housekeeping. Not sure if you can add on, Jess, if I left anything out.
No, it's great. We get to also nominate who we want as part of our cohorts. So cohorts are the groups you're divided into. So no matter what campus you're rotating to, you're always going to be kept in the same cohort, and we have the same cohorts all across campuses. Sorry, that was confusing. And so you get to elect like 2 or 3 representatives depending on your grade and on your class. And then once those representatives are elected, you choose a topic which you're in charge of. So I think I was academics and social, and social responsibility. Tino, I don't remember what you did.
Mine was just academics.
Yeah, we were both in academics. So yeah, it's really fun, and I think it's a great experience to gain leadership because you're working with the deans, and they really come to you with anything they need help with.
So do you feel like you've had an impact in the school because of the HSA? You feel like this experience has helped you to actually make an impact in the school?
Absolutely.
Looking back, looking back, I think yes. One thing that really comes to mind, I mean, Jess and myself, we're working towards bringing about like a tutoring program, which was actually
That was
Yeah.
all you. Yeah, you did. That was all Tino.
He's just being modest. Come on, yes.
We have a great leader here, I can see.
Working towards like a tutoring program, especially for your math classes, and that was sort of student run initially, and that has led to us having like 3-4 students being hired for those roles. So that it's a great segue, not only for people to get a greater understanding on certain topic areas, but also a form of on-campus employment here in the US for the Boston campus, of course.
Mm-hmm. And I have 2 students here that are majoring in finance. Usually math is kind of difficult for some students. So I would like to ask how it is in terms of tutoring, if it is easy to find a tutor, if you have some subject that you have more difficulty with. So how it works on this sense.
So there is the ease of my courses. So every course has a designated tutor. Some tutors might be tutoring for maybe 3 or 4 classes, if I'm not mistaken. Before COVID, there were actual time slots. It should have been Fridays either in the late morning or early afternoon, where a tutor would actually sit in at Halt Point and have some form of office hours that you could slip in if you need help with a certain topic or an exercise. They would be there to sort of run you through it. Just can remember one of our first PG postgraduate tutors was Sean Wells, who actually finished. Sean. He was actually a tutor for, it should have been statistics, accounting, and finance.
Yeah, no, he's amazing. And I think the best thing about Halt is that like we're all in this together. Haha, High School Musical. But no, it's like we all had accounting our first semester, and that was brutal. No one really knew what was going on. So we'd make like little study sessions, or like for finals, we'd get together and just go over things. Like it's really like it's a community, and if you don't understand it, the likelihood that someone else isn't understanding it is high. So you're just like someone who gets it better, like Tino will just go over it with me, and then another class I'll help him. Same with Viviana. So yeah.
I think it actually, the tutoring thing really helped because I actually used it for Python and statistics. Because my tutor, she was doing both classes. I could literally just go to her and ask her about any of the 2 subjects anytime I wanted. And actually it helped me create a friend too. So that was very impactful.
So besides the tutors, is there any other academic support available? Like, is it easy to speak to your professors in terms of office hours? How does it work?
Oh yes, definitely. I think for some of the professors, it really doesn't matter what time you shoot them an email.
Yeah, we can text them.
Oh yes.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
How close we are. And as I said, if you've got an issue with submitting a homework, if for some reason there's a glitch, you can shoot them an email with a copy of your homework, and it's fine. If you don't understand, you can have office hours. Some people can create office hours outside of the designated office hours, and that's how much they care about not only you understanding, the course in itself, but just making sure that they know that you know as a student that they're there for you, and they really just want the best for you at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing. So more than 80% of our students do at least 1 rotation. So have you guys done any rotation? Are you considering to do a rotation? What are your insights in terms of moving from one campus to another?
Has anyone rotated here?
Girl, you did.
I did. I'm asking because I want to like save the best for last. Anyways, I went to Shanghai because the reason behind it was I wanted to explore my Chinese side, and it was just, I mean, me going to China to study, that was a bizarre idea to me, and the fact that I got the chance to go with Holt was amazing. I got to see people from the other campuses like San Francisco and London, and I made lifetime friendships through there. And you also get to see the professors from other campuses. So my management professor was from San Francisco, and my finance professor was from London. And they also give you, because the way they teach a class has to do with their surroundings. So the way they taught their classes was also they took in consideration their campus location. So for example, the professor from finance, he would explain us things from an angle that it encompasses China, London, and the US. So it was it was very insightful teaching. And then the management professor, because he came from San Francisco, he gave us insight of how it was working in San Francisco. And it just gave me different insight that I didn't know compared to if I was studying here in Boston, because professors here will mostly talk about what's available in your surroundings, but also globally. And then I also got to share unique experiences with my friends from Boston. Like I think I went to Shanghai with 6 or 7 friends from Boston, and we had such a unique experience. We went to the river, and we sat on the boat because Holt organized an event with that, and many activities I would have never thought that we could have had if I didn't go to Shanghai with them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
In
apart
terms,
from yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, and the food. You have to go because of the food. The food is like the main thing. Yeah, I have a friend that is vegetarian, and he has such a hard time looking for food because every Chinese person eats meat. So everywhere you went, I had to like help him translate and find vegetarian food and stuff like that.
Yeah, food's important for us. I actually just wanted to add to what Viviana was saying. I can't emphasize how much we have like a global view, especially compared to more traditional schools. Like, it's insane. I've taken classes at some other schools, like other universities, and it's like it's very US centric, right? Because we're not their target market, because their target market's Americans. But for us, like, we're so international that the professor has to be, and nearly all our professors are. And I take that for granted. And then I took a class at another school, and I was like, wait, why are we only learning about US things? And then it clicked. It's like, oh no, because Halt's different. So that's really important for me, and I'm sure for everyone listening. If you want to have a global business, you need to go to a global business school, and not just a school that's like, yes, we're international, but then the curriculum doesn't match. So even without rotating, because for me, for me, it's actually harder to stay in one place. I still have that international experience from Boston.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So now, Vivian, I have a question for you. Since you did this rotation to China, do you do courses in different campuses? So how was this transaction for you in terms of visa, in terms of classes? Like how did it work?
So Shanghai is actually a shorter amount of time compared to having a summer program in Boston, London, or San Francisco. The terms are a little bit shorter. So the dynamic, how it was, we would take 5 classes straight. So I think my first 2 weeks, I took finance, and it was from 7 to 12. And then you have the afternoon and night free. So you could do whatever you want. You want to explore the city, you could have. But I mean, we had breaks, so don't worry about it. And then about the visa to China, because it's a very temporal stay, you can just ask for the tourist visa, and you're going to be able to attend class in Shanghai.
Mm-hmm. Was it easy for you to request this rotation with student services? Did they guide you like with everything you had to do? How was this transition?
So the process was very easy. It's basically just a form. You have to have your itinerary to that you're going to China, and you just submit it, and you would get the results after a week. I didn't really use the visas team because I've done this before in the past, because I go to China quite often. And I think, yeah, there's also services where you can just send your passport and they help you guide you through it. And I think that's what my friends did, and that's what Holt advised them to do as well.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. What about you guys? Have you done any rotation yet? Are you still considering to rotate?
So unfortunately, I haven't had the honor of rotating. I mean, over the summer one, I was considering rotating because I did study for that summer, but with COVID, all of those plans were sort of put into the cupboard, and then the key was thrown away. So unfortunately, I will have to graduate, without having the opportunity to rotate, because I'm finishing next year in May. But for those of you who are viewing this, I would highly recommend it. I can guarantee that it will definitely enhance your college experience. And yet again, going back to the networking, it's another segue for you to network to a market that, who knows, that you might actually enjoy.
The great thing about Holt is lifelong learning. So you can always go back to campus once a year to meet a new network and stay up to date in terms of classes. Sometimes the classes are in this castle in Ashridge, so it's a very cool castle, very great experience to have as well. So I would like to know, what was the most surprising thing you found in Holt? What is something that really got your attention when you started to have your Holt experience?
I think I'm going to go first with that one. I knew that it was an international business school, right? But the level of
I know where you're going. Yes.
As in, it's like you've got students from every single like part of the world. There's some countries, I'm not going to mention them, that I didn't even know existed. And geography is actually very well taught back home. And I'm like, does that actually exist? Like, wow. And
where is it?
Sorry, I'm not going to disclose.
No, I bet you were asking yourself, where is this place, right? Where is this company?
Yeah. And you get to know more about it, and and that's definitely another segue for you to create friendships. So one of my friends was actually mentioning that it's like the United Nations all in one place.
What about you girls? What did you find very surprising at Holt?
We actually, Viviana, do you have something?
I was gonna mention about the Holt Prize. I didn't know it
existed.
existed.
Oh yeah, please do.
Yeah, so Holt Prize is basically kind of I don't want to say a social program. I don't know how to describe it, but it's basically
social entrepreneurial competition.
Yeah, a business. Yeah. So you get $1 million, if I'm not mistaken, if you win. And usually there's always a theme each year. And it's usually one of the UN development goals. And they choose one of these themes, and you have to create a business model that does go with the theme. And the first time, well, I don't know if you guys went. Did you guys go to the Holt Prize? Both of you? So for the first year, we had the chance to go to to UN in New York.
The finals?
Yeah. It was the first year. I think it was the first week even. And I got to see that. I got to see Bill Clinton. I got to see so many people, and I networked with a lot of people as well. It was just very surprising that Holt has this social program that just help people around the world, but also not only like help people around the world, but also helped students be able to get this experience on their hands.
Yeah, and on that note, like it's in over 2,000 schools, so it's not just within Holt. It's global, so it's really cool that we get to have like an insider's view on that. We get to volunteer on an event, so it's amazing. My thing that surprised me, which is like more on the low key end, is we have a couple of student founders, and it's funny because often they don't really like say they are, and then I talk to them and I'm like, oh yeah, like I have a business and blah blah, and I'm like, what? Like Tina, when he said that, I was like, huh? Like it's really cool because everyone loves business. So yeah, it's really cool because everyone does have a passion for business, so that's really important.
So would you consider getting involved in the Holt Prize, like, or eventually in the next year participating in the competition, even though it's not mandatory? I still believe personally it's a great experience to have, right? So would you eventually consider it as well?
I would. I'm actually like thinking of participating this year. I have a strong passion for social consciousness and sustainability, and I really want to help the world in that way. Um, and if I get the chance to do it, why not? Always there's no reason I shouldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think what's also important to note, there's there's going to be one winner, at the end of it all. But some other ideas that are very interesting and feasible for investors that are watching, you can definitely be, a target for one of those investors that are interested in actually fueling your idea forward until, it actually realizes. So you shouldn't be, just targeting for the first position, but more so aim to get your idea out there and, get a voice for yourself. I think that's what should drive you to actually do it.
Mm-hmm. And just to participate in the competition, it already stands out in a resume, right? That you were involved in such a great project with such great international experience. So I definitely agree. And Jessica was mentioning Tino has a project, and I'm still curious about it. So Tino, can you mention what is this project about? So then we can can you share it with us?
So the business that I started, so it was just out after my A levels, Cambridge A levels back home. So my dad, I literally grew up like on a farm, a big estate back in Zimbabwe, and I was very involved with the agricultural industry on, the commodity side.
Tino, I think you're good to go.
He's muted.
Yeah. Oh, I think he's the one who had the call. Okay. So I know that, okay, it's an agricultural business in Zimbabwe, which is really cool. And I think
That's
we need to
super
hear more
cool.
of that whenever he's ready.
And Jessica, you mentioned that you were already working on a startup. So I'd like to know a little bit more about that as well.
I'm working on it right now, but Tino's back,
I'm
so
back. I'm back.
Okay,
yeah.
back to Tino.
Sorry for that. So it was a business straight after I finished my A levels, and I just really was intrigued into the supply chain of fresh fruit and vegetables in Zimbabwe. So I literally asked my dad, "Hey, Dad, you've got this equipment, and I'm interested in starting a business of my own because I wanted to see, everyone was boasting about the freedom of owning something of your own, starting something of your own, and just having that freedom at the end of the day." So I started a small enterprise of my own, which we started off like growing grains and like, fruit and veg, but I focused more on exporting that to the local market and also to like small markets, courtesy of my dad. So for those of you in the UK, I would send some of my stuff to like Tesco and Sainsbury under my dad's company. So I also use that as sort of a driving force to empower local small-scale farmers in the area. So I had people growing strawberries, blueberries, gooseberries, soft fruit that wasn't available in the UK during their off season, so in the winter. And through that, I was just like, you know what, I think I really have a passion for this. So I sort of ran that business for about 2 months, 3 months. And that's why I then made the initial change from engineering, for those of you who know, to business. And then hence my intrigue into finance.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's super cool. That's awesome that you already are working on your own project, family business. So that's very great to hear. Jessica, would you like to share with us about your startup as well, or?
It's gonna sound so much less exciting after Tino. But yeah, I've actually failed multiple times. I had a startup in high school, didn't work out. And I started one with my co-founder and it didn't work out either. And now we're just trying again. So I think the real lesson for startups is just like, you're gonna start, you're gonna fail, and that's okay. The thing we're working on right now is a media company called Electric Potential, where we're going to empower Gen Zs and cater a media towards them that's more on the social entrepreneurial activism landscape, as well as provide them a platform to connect with people who are doing the same thing.
Great.
Yeah.
Amazing. So it's very good to hear your experiences and your insights about Holt. For anyone listening our conversation right now, do you have any, thinking about university and colleges list, do you have any advice you would like to give to someone starting their journey at Holt? Any recommendation?
Yeah, I'll go. Start networking at home. Make sure you have really strong connections, and because that'll translate and you'll be able to leverage that in college, even if maybe like the pharmaceutical industry is not something you're passionate about, but someone you know at school is, while you're still in high school. Make sure you connect with them because one of your friends might be interested, and that's a really good opportunity.
I say get out of your comfort zone, do things that you've never done before, and just try to be better each and every day.
Amazing.
I think it's going to be a lot more simple. Just don't be afraid to do what you're good at, and also just focus on things or a passion that you want to do. You shouldn't be coerced or forced, okay, or pressured into venturing into a field or a major that you're not comfortable with pursuing. It should be originally and solely what you want.
Amazing. And from what I've heard of your experience, I see that you're all super involved on campus with HSA, with fashion clubs, with many activities that are happening besides the business curriculum. So I think getting involved is key, right? To get involved and to network. So thank you so much, guys, for sharing their insights with us today. It was a great conversation. Any attendees have any questions for us so we can clarify?
I think there's a question in the comment section. It
Yes,
says, can you work while studying? Yes. I think Tino has a better, or Jessica has a better answer for that.
I mean, there are different ways, like it depends which channel you use. So let's sort of explore that. First of all, there's on-campus employment, if that's what you want. Various intern roles, whether it's in Holt House, the accommodation, or operations, or with enrollment. You can work on campus, which is legal, so you can earn a bit of money whilst studying at the same time. All right. You can use what's called, I think it's 3 different types of internships. So there's the 299, 399, and 499, which I'll discuss. So 299, that is, after your second year, this is what I did, you can, not just your second year, but after spending 9 months or an academic year in the United States, you can apply and get an internship for the summer. A 399 is somewhat like the co-op that some universities have. So I think Jess would know this as well. Like you can literally take a semester off and do an internship and then come back, which is, first of all, you're getting valued experience and you can get credit for it at the same time. And then finally, your 499, which is the internship, which is matched with your capstone. So some people do a thesis, you can participate in the Holt Business Challenge, or you can do what I'm talking about, which is the internship for your capstone in your final year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just to add, yeah, Tino, you're right. You can do the capstone, you can do any of the options, and they're really great. And on-campus employment is also awesome. And if you do one of those internships, even if you're on an F1 visa, you can get paid. So that's a good opportunity.
And if you're an American, a local, then obviously you can do part-time jobs around the area. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. So thank you guys once again for participating. If the attendees have any other questions, they can always download the brochure or send us an email directly. We have a lot of events coming up this fall semester since some schools are still closed. So we're going to have many virtual events. And yes, thank you. Thank you very much, guys. Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you for coming.